governorship election gathers momentum. The lawmaker representing the Ikeja Federal constituency in the House of Representatives, James Faleke, wants the All Progressives Congress APC to zone the ticket to Kogi West Senatorial District. Faleke said zoning the ticket to Kogi West will give the people a sense of belonging and ensure peaceful coexistence among ethnic groups in the state. He asked APC members in the state to work together and ensure victory for the party at the polls. The governorship election in Kogi State is scheduled to hold on the 11th of November. The Adamawa State chapter of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, and Conference of Nigeria Political Parties, CNPP, have disagreed with the call for removal of the state resident electoral commissioner ahead of Saturday's supplementary election, while the state chairman of CNPP, Jafaru Giri, advised INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, not to yield to any pressure to remove the rec. The IPAC chairman, Bello Babajo, is insisting that the resident electoral commissioner must be removed.
In Adamawa State. On Thursday, 6th April 2023, the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, addresses press calling on INEC chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu for immediate removal of the Residential Electoral Commissioner, REC, Barrister Hudu Haruna Ari, and replace him with a competent head that will be fair and just during the supplementary election slide for 15th April 2023.
The Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress APC in Takum local government area of Taraba State has dissociated itself from the purported expulsion of a senator-elect David Jimkuta for alleged anti-party activities. At a press briefing in Jalingo, the APC chairman in the council area, Mujinyama Salihu, said those who signed the purported expulsion are not APC members. He said the signatories are mere mercenaries of the opposition parties who lost in the primaries and the March 18 governorship election in the state.
We should not have responded to these purported fake letters of expulsion being circulated by the groups, but our response was stated by the fact that a section of the people may be misled to believe whatever trash they come across in the social media. I wish to state in a very clear and loud voice that we, the executive of APC Takum local government of Taraba State, have passed our vote of confidence on our Senator-elect, Honorable David Jimkuta.
In APC, definitely we must have to come together because one might have stepped on someone's toes or the other. Therefore, if we are calling for reconciliation, it doesn't mean that we have a faction.
Let's take a short break, and when we return, it's the time to speak with our guest of the day, the governorship candidates of the African Action Congress, AAC, in the last election in Enugu State, Kene, Ogbodo, on the 2023 elections and Southeast politics. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to our interview with the first guest of the day. I am joined by the governorship candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC, in the last election in Enugu State, Kene Ogbodo, for discussion on the 2023 elections and Southeast politics. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you so much. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening to you. I'm very good. Thank you very much. All right. So the elections have come and gone. How will you react to the outcome?
Yeah, I think thank you so much. Yes, the election has come and gone with a lot of intrigues. Some of them good, some of them not good for some people, because after election, there's always going to be winners and losers in the election. But the most important thing is not just about losing, it's about how did the losers feel. You know, did they feel that the process is credible, is fair, and free for everyone? Obviously, there is a lot of things that happened during the election, you know, but many winners has emerged, and many Nigerians are thinking that INEC performed below par, and a lot of things has gone. People who are dissatisfied, they have gone to tribunal. Some people are still preparing their cases to go to the tribunal, like people who the election were conducted on 18th of March. They still have a window to be able to go to tribunal, but the people who has some fallout in the presidential election, the window has closed now. So the Labour Party presidential candidate and the People's Democratic presidential candidate and few other presidential candidates of some other parties has filed their cases, looking to asking the court, to the tribunal, to look into the outcome, because don't forget, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu was declared as the winner of the 2023 political parties who felt that they were shortchanged and the INEC did not follow their process. I was a candidate in the 18th of March election in Enugu State. I can actually tell you that the election was a little bit abysmal, because it was below par, because there's quite a lot of intimidation and the harassment of voters. But he has come and gone, and there has been a winner has emerged in the person of People's Democratic Party. We congratulated him, and the spirit of sportsmanship and statesmanship. We are also looking at the result and some other things as well. And obviously, if we finish doing it, if we need to go to tribunal, we can go to tribunal. But the most important thing is that we want the benefit of our people moving forward, so that our people can move from abject poverty of the pocket, the body, the mind, and the soul. So whoever that will be sworn in on 29th May, they have a lot of tasks to do, because our people has been wounded so much.
So how do you feel having lost the election?
Went into the election hoping that I'm going to win, hoping that the people of Enugu State is going to get the clear message that we are sending, because we are sending a clear message of uplifting our people from abject poverty of the body, the mind, the pocket, and the soul. But at the end of the day, and we also believe so much on this electoral law of 2022, which was signed in by President Mohamed Buhari, and we believe in all the marketing that the INEC did, because the INEC was quite very good in marketing this electoral law to Nigerians. And those of us, living abroad, I kind of believe that things will change, and things has come to change. And we get into this because the people that we have entrusted leadership in Enugu State has been messing our people around, the People's Democratic Party. We believe that it is time, to change. It is time to give our people a bit of fresh air in terms of maybe understanding, and they maybe start living before they actually die. But at the end of the day, things happened, it wasn't quite followed through the way the marketing of the beavers and the marketing of INEC did. When it came to the selling of the main product, they kind of fall short of what we expected them to do. The old system of rigging, intimidation, harassment, and thuggery came to play on 18th of March. So it's not the fact that we lost the election, it's the fact that the process, the system, that everything went through wasn't quite what we expected. Losing an election is not really a big headache, because if you go into any context, especially in one which 17 people were contesting for the governorship, there's going to be only one winner and the other people are going to lose. But if you lose, how do you lose? But the most important thing is that now it has come and gone. We're going to look into it, and we'll make sure that whoever that is sworn in, we're going to hold the person accountable, so that they can deliver their promises to the people. And we're going to make sure that our people have a good lease of life.
All right, I guess the election has come and gone, but how surprised are you about the outcome of the governorship election in your state, Enugu?
I will tell you the truth, because I'm quite surprised, because the election was conducted on 18th of March. A lot of things happened on that day. We were expecting the result of the election to come out on the following day, or at least within a Monday, the 20th. But a lot of things happened, whereby during the announcement of the result, the Labour agent, raised them an order, which obviously says that there is a kind of issue with the result from Nkanu East local government, that the 30,000 plus votes that was returned for People's Democratic Party is not acceptable, that they don't think beavers was used, and a lot of other things that was raised. Okay, now the INEC has to say they want to look into it, but INEC went quite away from what the electoral law says, by saying that they took the result sheet to Abuja and now return a few days later to remove some votes from a People's Democratic Party, which I can tell you that members of People's Democratic Party are not happy that the result which they claim they got, which is over 30,000, was reduced to 16,000 votes. And the Labour Party people are also saying that this 16,000 is not even where it ends now, that they believe that the result is about 7,000. So there's quite a big issue. But my own concern as a candidate in the election is that for INEC to actually maybe go out of what electoral law says, because electoral law is quite very clear. If there is any issues during the collection or during the tabulation of this result, the collection officer, the electoral officer is allowed to look over his or her shoulder to see whether the collation, there is any mistake with whatever that is going on. It is the collation officer that has to do it. He did not say that he has to go to Abuja for some Abuja to actually maybe deduct vote from for the People's Democratic Party. Though that 30,000 votes, if it was added to the result collected, the PDP could have won the election. Now they reduced it to 16. The PDP still won the election. So maybe the PDP might be satisfied that even after the reduction, they still won the election. But the issue is that as a candidate in the election, I want to know, and we are asking questions, what resulted in reducing those votes? What actually transpired? Was those votes the invalid vote? Were they manufactured? Were they dotted? Because at the end of the day, the People's Democratic Party candidate governor-elect in one of the interviews last time, he did talk about that he has instructed his lawyers to look into maybe what happens. Because you can't just maybe take the results to Abuja, come back to Enugu and remove some of those things. You need to tell people what actually happened, what transpired. Because if you are not telling us, that is not transparency. And if we want to get our state, we need to be able to be accountable to people. We need to be truthful and reliable. So what we're going to be looking at is to make sure that if we bring a fair and a true process, that is how our people can actually have a fresh of a breath air. Because if we keep on maybe doing what we are doing, things is not going to work for our people, and our people are going to continue to suffer. But myself, who is in opposition, I lost the election, whoever that is declared, whoever that is elected, we're going to be able to support the person. We're going to be able to hold the person accountable for the people and make sure that the most important thing is to uplift our people from the abject poverty of the pocket, the body, the mind, and the soul. But we're going to follow you to the letter.
All right, we'll get back to that. Well, now that the election has come and gone, will you be going back to London or stay back to work with the newly elected government in the state or at the national level?
Yeah, that's a very good question. During my campaign, I mainly meant to be able to deliver to the people good governance, good leadership, what they actually deserve, what they actually need. Because the people that has been ruling them, who have been in this power, has shortchanged our people a lot. Our people are suffering. They are messing our people up. So we believe that I am the better option to be able to take Enugu State from this quagmire and they give people what belongs to them. But now the election has come and gone. Obviously, I have to return to my business. I have to return to my work. I have to earn a daily bread. I don't depend on state resources. I don't depend on the welfare of governance or something like that. But if there is a place where I can offer my expertise in Enugu State to make sure that it moves forward, I will be willing to do that. But it has to be something that works for me and work for the people. It's not just maybe about getting into government or getting something. We are not desperate in terms of maybe belonging to any government or working for any government. But whatever government that is doing, we're going to hold them accountable because what we believe that we want to offer to our people has to be top-notch, and our people deserve the better. So we're back to business already because we're not wallowing and going around Enugu thinking about hanging around or something like that. After the election, I went about, met some other contestants, somebody like Chijioke Odoga, somebody like Frank Weke Jr., some other people as well. I also met with Peter Mba, who is the governor-elect. But obviously, after the declaration and the certificate of return, I tried to meet him, but we didn't meet, but I met him before the election. So we are doing totally different politics. It's not this politics of whatever, but we are sticking around. Whether we are in London, whether we are in US, wherever I am, we have ears and on ground. We will be following whatever that is happening in Enugu. We're not going to leave it to these recycled politicians anymore. And my message is going to be whoever, obviously, Mba is the candidate-elect, and he will be sworn in on 29th of May, unless if maybe the court says otherwise. And if he elects, he has to maybe make sure that he move away from what is currently at stake with the PDP to make sure that he delivers to our people what belongs to the people. Because the people, the crop that are in PDP at the moment, whom we campaign against, are not good for our people, and for them to be able to get it right, they need to look elsewhere and bring people who are competent, people who are compassionate, people who have character, people who actually have the feeling of other human beings to be able to deliver to them what actually they need.
All right, so when you say the governor-elect, Peter Mbah, should move away from what the PDP stands for at the moment, what do you mean?
Yeah, what I make is that because obviously, if it's just because of PDP at itself in Enugu State, Peter Mbah couldn't have even won the election, maybe had that battle. It's just because maybe for some people in Enugu State, they like him as a young man. He's 51 years old. He's intelligent. He's smart as well. He has a business that is going. He probably maybe understands leadership and management. But if he has run the election only on the mantra of PDP, he could have failed woefully. Because this PDP being in power for the past 23 years, if you go to Enugu, Enugu is one of the dirtiest states probably in the southeast. If you, in terms of infrastructure, the roads are very bad. In the news today, I think there was a news today that Enugu is starting a construction or maybe maintenance of roads in Enugu metropolis. It hasn't been happening. There is quite a lot of things. Our people are suffering. People are not paid their gratuities. People are not paid pensions. People are not paid their salaries as and when to. Some people are not getting ordinary 30,000 minimum wage in Enugu State. We ran the election promising 50,000 minimum wage to Enugu workers if we're elected, because we say we're going to pay that because we're not going to come into government with too much overhead. We are going to come into government with small overhead because we mainly offered our people with our message to the people that we are the better option for the people. We didn't go about, borrowing or spending too much money. But obviously, we believe that we were going to win the election. But for the fact that there was manipulation and there were intimidation and there were harassment, people who could have voted for us, some of them did not come out. There were voter apathy. Actually, the people who decided this election in this 18th March is less than 20% of registered voters in Enugu State, which is quite not acceptable, which is quite not very good.
All right, so let's go back to the outcome of the election. You have urged the people not to despair as you would hold the incoming administration accountable. How do you intend to do that?
Yes, the way I would do that is to continue to engage to our people, because we know the problems that Enugu people are suffering, the problem of insecurity, the problem of water scarcity, which is one of the first thing in our manifesto. The governor-elect, Barrister Peter Mbah, is also in his manifesto, and he has promised the people of Enugu State that the water system will be solved within 6 months of him taking over administration. The runner-up of the election, Chijioke Edoga, who has also gone to court, water provision is also part of what he is promising Enugu State. So that, whoever that is sworn in, we're going to be holding them accountable. In the case of the governor-elect, Barrister Peter Mbah, he has promised 6 months to deliver. So we're going to be watching, we're going to be following what is going on. We understand what is clearly stated in all his manifesto. We're going to be engaging Enugu people in radios, in news, publishing articles, engaging the government as well. We're not going to be attacking the government. We're not going to be attacking here, but we're going to be holding the government accountable in terms of maybe reminding them of where they are, maybe missing what they have promised, or maybe if things is not going. But obviously, whenever those promises, when you get into government, some of them you will see that they are quite very broad and things that you might not do. But they need to communicate to the people. This is what we can do now. This is what we can do later. Because the most important thing is that our people need to be listened to, and our people need to be communicated to tell them what is going on, because whoever that is the governor is actually the custodian of the people, not maybe just maybe for them or maybe for the few cronies. The old politicians, the recycled politicians, the people that has been there has not been there for the people. They have been there for their pocket. So we need a new change. We need a new thing, a positive one, because leadership is about positive inspiration, positive influence, and positive impact. And if you cannot offer it to the people, you shouldn't have any business in leadership, not to talk of maybe governing a state. So we're going to be holding them accountable, making sure that they deliver good governance and the good leadership to our people.
All right. So some parties have vowed to challenge the outcome at the tribunal, but the PDP insists it's won fairly. You have also called it abysmal. But what's the position of your party on this?
My position of our party is that obviously we know we lost the election because the the election did not move up to par of what we wanted because of harassment and intimidation of voters who could have voted for us. So, but by and large, you know, at the center of it is that in terms of maybe what happened, because we are asking questions, we want to know what led to the deduction of PDP votes in Kano East. Their vote need to be returned to them if the vote belongs to them. If it does not belong to them, we need to know why that vote got there in the first place. Because they cannot return 30,000 votes, and at the end of the day, they gave them 16,000. That is not good. That is not acceptable. Are they doing plus and minus? INEC is not fixed there to add in vote and they remove vote for somebody else. The position of our party is that is the area where we are trying to look into it, because some of my colleagues is even calling for the total cancellation of the whole result, but that could cause chaos in the system. Barrister Mba has been declared as the winner of the election, and it has to be he's the governor-elect. I congratulated him. He's a young man. I believe he can do the job. I believe I can also do the job even better than him, but obviously he can do the job. I believe any other person, Chijoke Edoga or Frank Wake, can do the job, but Barrister Mba has been declared the winner of the election. And if those results are proven okay, that is fine and good. And then we're going to be able to support him and we're going to be able to hold him accountable. Because the most important thing is the benefit of our people, because there's too much insecurity, there's too much hunger, there is too much poor health care, infrastructural problems in Enugu State. But the position of our party, obviously, we're going to be making it known, you know, before the window, whether we're going to be challenging that particular section of the problem of the election and the intimidation and harassment of people who could have voted for us. Because it's not just because I lost the election, it's just because the manner and how it happened, because we were shortchanged a lot because of these mainstream political parties who have people here and there everywhere, because they have been in power and they are quite on ground more than our own party, which is very local. I am the only candidate. I was the only candidate of AAC in Enugu State. It wasn't easy. It was difficult. I didn't even have House of Assembly members, because no other person in Enugu summoned the courage to buy the form of African Action Congress, because they believe the party has no ground. But we tried and we did what we could, and we were proud of the campaign and the election we ran.
All right. You know, many analysts say political parties like AAC will wait for some time before they can challenge for power. How will you react to this?
I think they could be right in their own destiny. It just depends on how parties choose to operate, because some of those new parties, like I can tell you a case of the AAC, I'm not going to be talking against, but I can tell you that AAC as a party is not quite ready. Our presidential candidate, who also doubles as the chairman of our political party, he obviously he's okay. He's an activist, but he does not understand what it takes to be a leader. He does not understand management or in terms of maybe strategy, because he just thinks maybe he's a one-man band. So that is why during the run-up of the election, you know, some of us, you know, a governorship candidate in African Action Congress, we had to disown and dump him, and they choose other presidential candidates to support, because he wasn't really, maybe every election is local. Presidential election, you have to work with your state guber candidate or state whatever to be able to get down to it. As a guber candidate, I have to look for people who also are House of Assembly or chairman or whatever to work with them. But he wasn't doing any of that. Probably maybe he knew from beginning that he wasn't going anywhere. But we came to the party because we were thinking that he is a little bit of national figure. He's on media every now and then talking, and he thinks he have. We thought he has the mind and the problem of Nigeria all cut out, and he has those things. But when you come here, you can actually understand that the talk is cheap. It's not just about talking. It's about actually maybe leading people, because leadership is different from maybe just talking and talking. So some of those political parties, small political parties, they might even, you might even see that they are worse than those major political parties, because those major political parties, they have structures, they have their leadership and management distilled, they have their functionalities. But some of those small political parties, you find out that some of them are the chairman, the presidential candidate, the treasurer, the financial secretary. It's not just in AAC. If you go to ADC, they're having that issue. If you go to ADP, which is the chairman of IPAC, national, he's a candidate, he is the national chairman as well. It's not that there is so much bad in it, but you have to be able to bring internal democracy and be able to distill those powers, so that because running to be president of Nigeria is quite a big task, and you cannot be running it and also be running the party. And now you also trying to control people who are in the state, whereby you are not building the party, because building a party takes a lot of things to do it, and you have to show transparency. And it was lacking in our own party, and I'm sure it's lacking in most of those parties, and that is why they are not making any headways. When we talk about money as well, running a political party or campaign, it requires a lot of money. But it's not just about money. There is other people who can actually help you. But you need to show them that you are actually there to help. So in terms of politics, in terms of all those small political parties, you can see it in the case of a Labour Party that swung into action around May 2022. They were a small party as well. But now once they had a credible candidate and somebody who is known and loved by some people because he was a former governor, and after being the former governor, not just because of it, but he went speaking and talking to Nigerians in different platforms and different media, sharing about his experiences and stories, which he mastered, and he was selling himself. And when the time comes to it, because he also was a vice presidential candidate of PDP in 2019, which was a plus for him as well. So he was also running to contest for president under PDP before he fell out with them, and he decided to go other way. And a lot of people followed him, which also have a very big impact, and they affected some of other small political parties, because even some of our supporters has to join obedient movement and those things, though he's claiming that they did well, they did okay, they did well in the election, and he's claiming that he actually won the election. But until the court of competent jurisdiction or tribunal proves otherwise, Bola Tinubu is the declared the winner of the election. We have congratulated him, though I supported Obi during the presidential election when we don't show it. But the result at the moment, Tinubu is the president-elect in Enugu State. Mba is the governor-elect. I don't do this politics of bitterness. I don't do this politics like an everyday politician. I'm a totally different new breed. I do politics different way. And saying the truth and standing for the truth is better for me than maybe trying to buy cheap popularity or whatever. I did not join politics to start making money or to start ripping people off. I have something reliable and something that I'm doing, and I'm quite happy to continue to do that. I offered myself to the people. I'm very happy. I'm fulfilled that I offered myself at the time of the need, and the people looked well. But I'm not angry. I'm not angry or sad for our people, because it wasn't there. It wasn't that they looked elsewhere. It's just the system and the process that made things to happen the way it happened. So it is not the end yet.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. We're focusing on the 2023 elections and Southeast politics with the governorship candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC, in Enugu State, Kene Ogbodo. All right. This discussion will continue after this break. Please stay with us.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us tonight. In the program, we're focusing on the 2023 elections and Southeast politics with the governorship candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC, in Enugu State, Kene Ogbodo. All right, Mr. Ogbodo, now before we went on that break, you said the smaller parties are worse than the big parties, and a lot of times the big parties are better because there are structures in place. Have you considered the campaign to these big political parties?
Actually, it's not about the campaign to big political parties, because obviously I'm a principled person, and I have my tests and I have my own things. Joining small political parties here is we wanted to join a political party that is undented. Sometimes it is good to fight from outside. Sometimes as well it's good to fight from inside. It just depends on how things is going. But the 2023 election, if he has not done anything, he has actually done a very big thing to show the so-called mainstream political parties that they cannot take Nigerians for granted anymore. So things is about to change. Now, I'm not quite hasty in making decision in terms of maybe joining any political party or something like that. But as it stands now, I'm quite done with African Action Congress, because we did fall out, dumping the presidential candidate and them not having internal democracy is a big thing, because we have it's not just me, you know. There is governorship candidate. You must have seen it. It was on the news as well. The governorship candidate of African Action Congress. You know, not everyone, but most of the governorship candidate decided to dump the presidential candidate because we discovered that he had no pathway to presidency and he does not have any leadership skills or management skills to take Nigeria forward. So at the end of the day, because you get into something, is about a relationship. Belonging to a party is about having a good relationship, a good coordination, people being able to listen to you, your own views and things like that. Because we can agree and disagree. We can disagree to agree as well. So we're going to be looking into it properly. If we're going to make any other move, we will let Nigerians, our supporters, know about it. But in terms of, obviously, I'm quite thankful as well to African Action Congress to giving me the opportunity to fly the flag. But what I saw and what I got from them was nothing to write home about. There was no support, there was no help, apart from maybe just the banner of African Action Congress. And that is not the way politics, the way party supposed to be. You belong to a political party for them to sponsor you in an election. And when you talk about this sponsor, they don't understand what it means in terms of maybe sponsoring you in an election. Because when you buy the form, you go through the primaries, you won the primaries, you have to work with the people within the team. But in Enugu State, they basically has nothing. We have to build from scratch. And as we're trying to build, you know, they from the national, the show and they come there, we're trying to squash us, you know, trying to remove here and there and put whatever they like, you know. So, but when you look at it, you know, you ask yourself, you know, is that how it has been? Does these people really understand what he's doing? So even if we're joining another political party, we have to look into it deeply because we cannot no longer judge a book by its cover. I think in April last year, when I joined the African Action Congress, I mistakenly judged the book by the cover, thinking that because the activist Omo Showere is every now and then on 18 and talking about issues in Nigeria, which he's doing quite well, that in terms of party politics, that maybe he has what it takes. But I was wrong, and I apologize to my supporters. But we're going to look deeply and look very well before we join any other political party that is quite prepared, you know, in terms of maybe changing the narrative and making sure that they deliver for the people, not just any political party.
All right. The governor of Enugu State is one of the G5 within the PDP. Why did the AAC and other parties fail to take advantage of the crisis within the PDP to snatch power from it?
Yeah, actually, other parties took advantage. You know, don't forget that the governor of Enugu State lost his senatorial bid in Enugu North senatorial seat to a Labour Party candidate. And this Labour Party candidate is from opposition. So the advantage was taken. We could attribute it to obimania, obedient, or issue of a P2B bandwagon or something like that. But the advantage was taken. And I can tell you that in Enugu State, those people who belong to in Enugu State, PDP lost 7 out of the 8 House of Reps, and they lost 2 senatorial seats. And in terms of House of Assembly, they lost. But the people who benefited from this advantage mainly was Labour Party. Because I think what the Enugu people or what most people wanted to do is to actually make a statement. Let them start the change first. Because probably maybe they were just maybe queuing behind the P2B because he was contesting for presidential election and people were hearing level because he was visible. Our own presidential candidate was not visible to the people, to the grassroots. He was visible online media and those things. So the thing is that you have to be visible because you have to talk to the people. You have to go to the grassroots. And we did what we can do because at the end of the day, people are looking to a kind of follow things because people like to follow the leader. Don't forget, in times of crisis, people look for a leader to follow. And Nigeria, because we were in crisis, there were chaos everywhere. People were looking, and some of them think P2B is the leader they can follow. Some people believe Tinubu is the leader they can follow because of his track records in Lagos State. Some people believe that former vice president is the leader they can follow. Some people also believe that the Kwankwaso was the leader they can follow. Before the election, we quite knew clearly that it became a 4-horse race, you know. At the time, it became 3-horse race, you know, which ended up, we see what happened. But don't forget, Kwankwaso was the first because he managed to capture Kene from ruling APC, which was quite a plus for him as well. But that is what we're going to do. So when you look at it, you find out that some other parties took advantage of this G5. Benue State Governor, he lost his presidential senatorial bid as well. There were a few other people as well that lost their senatorial zone. Some of them has been accused of maybe, even in River State, there are many issues of people accusing Wike of intimidating voters, that his PDP and his things actually lost the election, but it was maybe manipulation and whatever. It is left for the court to decide. These things is hearsays here and there. I don't have the facts, but these are what we're seeing. But we've seen the issues of the military and the police and the whatever fighting each other. Somebody died during the election in River State because Wike, with all the whole mouth and all the whole boasting that he's doing, it's not really that maybe he can actually he has a magic wand to be able to tell people vote here. No, it was just maybe a manipulation. And I knew right from time that this G5, they had no clear purpose. They were confused.
All right, Mr. Ray. Now, before we move on, let me quickly get this out of the way. In what aspects or areas did you think your presidential candidates disappointed you or the party?
Yeah, the aspect that he disappointed us is that he did not carry his foot soldiers along in terms of the building the party, in terms of running the election. He operated a one-man band. He never visited even Enugu. Like I tell you now, as a governorship candidate of African Action Congress, I have never spoken with Omoyoro Sowore one-on-one. Omoyoro Sowore, as a presidential candidate of my party, needs me more than I need him. Because I need to capture Enugu for him. We need to work together. And when we think, because for some of them, because they had issues in 2019 of some after election of them having issues of going to court claiming that people hijacked their party. So they were quite wary about anyone who is new in the party, and it affected a lot of us who came into the party to actually contest election. And they accused us that we are looking for party to hijack and sell out. I contested my election to the end. I did not step down or endorse or align with anybody. We did our election campaign it all through, but they were campaigning us and trying to for a governorship election that you are actually determined and one or two things in leadership and the management that you want to offer. But they didn't really maybe want to build a party in anywhere. You can go and check it anywhere. So this is quite a very big thing. And it's not just because he was our presidential candidate. The painful part of it is that he was our national chairman. So you don't even have any other person to go to be able to ask for one thing or the other. So the party was just maybe basically controlled by him and the national secretary and the one other guy as well, and they weren't ready in terms of maybe building up.
All right,
and it was quite very disappointing.
All right. Now, Mr. Ray, you said the Labour Party benefited from the last presidential election, but despite the rising popularity of the presidential candidate of Labour Party, talking about Peter Obi in the Southeast, the party could only win Abia governorship election. Why did it happen that way for the party?
I think it's probably maybe they ran out of luck. I can tell you that people, maybe they were following Peter Obi, some candidates in a different in the Labour Party, because during the election, people will be telling you we are voting individuals, not political party. This is one of the things that some people were saying. And at the same time, don't forget that after the 25th February election, it's supposed to be 2 weeks before the governorship election, but it now took 3 weeks because INEC had to postpone the election. And after that 25th election as well, a lot of people as well, especially in the Southeast, were not happy. They believe that the election was scuttled, and they believe that the Peter Obi won the election, but he was rigged out. I don't know. This is what the belief of many people in the Southeast who voted overwhelmingly for Obi, because in Enugu, I think Obi got about 490-something votes, probably maybe about 90-something% or close to that. In Abia, he won. In Eboya, he won, and in Anambra, the same thing. So when it comes to the state election, some of those state as well has different political parties. In Enugu is PDP, in Eboya is APC, in Abia is PDP. But now when it comes to local as well, people have to do things differently. And because the election happened 3 weeks after, that 1 week that was they postponed the election, a lot of things happened that allowed some of those political parties that were in power to actually reshape and to learn from what happened. And I can tell you the 18th of March election, there were more intimidation, voter apathy, harassment, thuggery, ballot box snatching than the first election of 2015. So we don't actually know whether it was the will of the people that made the Labour not to win any other state apart from Abia, or whether people had a rethink. And when there is voter apathy, the major thing you have to understand that when there is a voter apathy, people who are the real voters, they do not come out. It is mainly the members of political parties that will come out to vote, because for them, they know each other. And in Enugu, it is PDP that has more members, Labour has members. Our own party, we don't have much members. So with the voter apathy, it affects people, commoners, who are supposed to come and vote for us and other political parties. So that is a very big major thing that might have affected it. Then, and the issue of people being shortchanged in terms of result being changed, which has to be proved, which they have to prove in the on the tribunal and in the law court.
All right, let's talk about INEC performance in the election. How will you rate it?
I think I will rate INEC performance average. It's not easy. Managing an election is not easy, but the annoying something is that the INEC overpromised and they underdelivered. As a supposed accountant, I'm gonna say supposed accountant because I read accounting in my BSc. I'm not a chartered accountant or whatever. There is something we call prudential accounting, and there is something that we say that it is better that you underestimate your income than overestimate your income, because it is better that you tell a chief executive that you're gonna return 10 million profit at the end of the financial year, and now you return 100 million, than telling them that you're gonna return 100 million and at the end of the day you are bringing in 10 million. They're gonna think maybe you have taken the other 90 million to your own pocket or something like that. So INEC, they marketed, and they were telling Nigerians everything is okay, things has come to do, we're gonna transmit results, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And now come to that day, they were not giving us excuses. That IRF is this one is down, this one couldn't happen. And that is the most important thing that is annoying people. Like His Excellency Peter Obi said that he is not angry, annoyed against His Excellency Tinubu, Atiku, or whatever, but it is the process. And this is the same thing we are saying. It is the process, and this process is what INEC were managing. And for the fact that the process was not followed the way it is enshrined in the Electoral Act is something that is annoying those of us who contested in this election, and the anomalies has to be corrected. INEC has to be able to clear the doubts and show things that they were. And the thing is that because of this abysmal performance of INEC, it has set Nigeria backward, because a lot of people who were hoping that this 2023 election will bring a new leaf of life in terms of maybe showing that the will of the people, the votes will count. Because I have no problem with His Excellency Bola Tinubu winning, being declared as the leader, because he, as the winner of the election, if he actually won the election, congratulations to him, very good and fine. But the most important thing, the process has to be touched not. It has to be clear to everybody.
All right, so let's talk about let's talk about the Labour Party. The supporters have continued to call credibility of the elections to question. Why are they bent on heating up the polity, in your opinion?
I think I must tell you from what I have seen, some Labour Party supporters, some of them are quite very desperate. Some of them are mean, from what I have seen. Some of them are good as well. Do not forget, majority of Labour Party supporters came from PDP. And because Obi went to PDP to seek for power, and they left. But at the same time, because they were also people who are product of NSAS and the majority of youths of Nigeria who are tired of what is going on. They wanted change, and they wanted it now. And they believe they fought for this change, and they stood for this change. And they believe because of the way the electoral process did not go well, they believe that things happened that made the result that has been declared is not the right one. That is why they are unhappy, they are angry. But the most important thing is that their leader, Peter Obi, even yesterday issued a statement calming them down, saying that they are taking the right process. They have gone to court. They are following the process to make sure that their mandate, his mandate that he said he has gotten, is restored, and they give him back to him. And we cannot just maybe accuse the people of Labour Party of heating up the polity as well. There are some elements and in APC that are also heating up the polity. People like FFK, Fani Kayode, and some other people. There are people in PDP as well. Somebody like Reno Mokere or something like that. Keep on bringing one thing or the other. There is even somebody as well.
I would indulge you. I would urge you to please.
I'll take it personally. They are my words as well. They are my words. It has nothing to do, and I take it personally. So, but there are issues of heating up. There are APC people heating up as well. There are even people who don't belong to APC who are heating up. So it's not mainly but for the obedient and for the Labour people, because they are the one at the receiving end, because they believe that they won the election, and they are more angry and sad about the whole thing, because people who belong to APC or something like that are quite settled, because they are the winner at the moment. The PDP on their own, they know that they lost out, notwithstanding that they came second. But I think from what I'm hearing from some of them, they believe that the other people actually had more votes than them or something like that.
Right.
So, but I will encourage obedient people, I will encourage Labour people to tune things down. We need to tune things down in this country. We need to follow the law judiciously. We need to be able to do the right thing in terms of believing that the court is the judiciary is the hope of the last hope of the common man, and they will do the needful. If maybe Labour won the election, they will be given the mandate. But obviously, let us not maybe kill ourselves at this moment. There's quite a lot of things that has happened in this country. Our people need healing.
All right. Now, the inauguration of the president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is less than 2 months away. What is the expectations of Nigerians?
The expectation of Nigerians is quite very huge and very big, because Nigerians has been wounded. Nigeria is, for some people, they believe Nigeria is becoming a failed state. So Nigerians need healing, and they need it fast. So when Bola Ahmed Tinubu is sworn in on 29th May, Nigerians will want him to show clear leadership in terms of maybe bringing people together, not divisive leadership. He should not do a divide and rule leadership. There is issues of insecurity everywhere. Before the election, there was a little bit of the kidnapping and killing of people that kind of tuned down. But over the past week now,
All right. I've been speaking with the governorship candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC, in the last election in Enugu State, Mr. Rain, Northeast Politics. Thank you very much for coming on the program tonight. And thank you very much for watching. That's all we have for you on today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night.